Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about a knife that I've had for almost 2 years. Actually got it as a birthday present and have used it a lot. I've done a few modifications to it and I'll go over those here in a minute. This knife kind of falls in between my SE3, my PR4, and my SE5. And I would rank this one right up there, really close to my SE5 when it comes to overall use. And I'll go into the things on that I like here in just a few minutes. The knife that I've got that I'm going to talk about is the T.O.P.S Fieldcraft, the B.O.B, Brothers of Bushcraft. And I watched a lot of reviews on this knife and probably looked at it at least 2 or 3 times before I finally broke down and got it. And I've been pleased with it. It's comfortable in the hand, it's light, it's nowhere near as heavy as the SE5, but yet it's still heavier than the SE3 or the PR4. So it fits right in between those. And let's just jump into it and we'll talk about it, and I'll go over some of the things I've modified with it. First thing I've done, this was actually set up as a right-handed sheath, and that's what this dimple's for. The spring clip was actually fastened on this side. What I did is I heated up the plastic on the other side and pushed it out to make it where I could put the spring on the left-hand side to make it left-handed friendly. Anyone out there left-handed will understand that. Nobody makes a knife that's left-handed friendly anymore. In most cases. You'll run across a few that do, but most cases they don't. It come with this little loop that goes onto the sheath that had a ferrule rod in it. The problem with the ferrule rod is you had this collar and then you had 2 magnesium rods and a ferrule rod all glued together in here. And the problem with that is when you really started trying to scrape on them, they come loose, they start wiggling, and the next thing you know, they all fall out. If I can find a ferrule rod that'll fit into this, that's about 2 inches long, I'm going to put it back in there and epoxy it in and put this back on the sheath. But that's why it's not on there now. The actual knife, it's made by T.O.P.S. It is 1095. Overall length on it is 10 inches. It's got a blade length from the handle to the tip of 4 3/4. The actual cutting edge is 4.5 inches. The thickness is 0.19. It's right in the area of about 3/16 of an inch thick. It's thicker than an SE3, which is an 1/8 inch. Same thing with the PR4, it's an 1/8 inch. The Rockwell on this is 56 to 58, and the weight is 9.6 ounces. So it's a little bit on the heavier side, but that being said, you can do almost as much with this as you can the SE3. The SE5. I have batoned wood with this to where I only had about that much of the blade sticking out of the end of it. The good thing I like is it carries the thickness almost all the way to the tip, as you can see. And the tip on this thing is incredibly strong. The handles are linen micarta. It has a bow drill divot on both sides. It has this little thing here that they call the Shango notch that's supposed to be used to strike a fire steel. Supposedly you take the fire steel and drive this thing down on the fire steel and it'll spark the fire steel. I tried and never could get it to work. It did not come with a 90-degree spine on it. So since then I have taken a Dremel tool and put a 90-degree spine on it so it will throw sparks with the spine. It also had a black epoxy coating on it, and batoning and so forth with it. I scuffed that up, So I actually stripped it off, and I kind of like it. When I stripped it off, I got this kind of a grayish satin look to the blade where the epoxy was at. And I kind of like that look, so I just left it alone. It is made in the USA. It does have what T.O.P.S calls a Scandi grind. Now, to me, it's a Scandi, but it's got a secondary bevel on the edge of it. This is probably one of my favorite knives to carve and whittle with, just because of the way the edge geometry is. It is phenomenal at that. The feather sticking with this is incredible. I just can't say enough about the edge geometry on this knife. I love the handle. I love the way they've taken into consideration all the different aspects of reverse grips, so forth. You've got places for your thumbs if you're using it that way. The jimping is good. It's very positive, but it's not so positive that it's hard on the thumb if you're using it without gloves. Like I said, if I had a choice between this and the SE3, the SE4, the SE5, this would kind of fall in right in with the SE5 as a do-all knife. You don't have quite the blade length or the cutting length that you have with the SE5, but this is just as capable and just a little bit lighter than the SE5. And no offense to the SE5, this one carves a whole lot better because of that Scandi grind with the secondary bevel on it. This one did come with a bow divot on both sides, so that's left-handed compatible right off the bat. I didn't have to do any modification to that. The only other modification I did to the sheath, when I got it, it was about a 1/4 inch taller than what it is there. And what I found with that is when that knife's locked in, you couldn't get your hand down any farther than that on the handle without hitting the sheath. So I took that off so that I could get on down on it and get more of a full-handed grip on the knife. These sell on the internet right around $100. I know they make different versions. I think there's 4 different versions of this one, and I've seen them anything from right around 100 to up to 130, 140 bucks. But this particular one, I bought it at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and I think I gave $102 for it. So, like I said, the sheath, the handle, the blade, everything, this is a great all-around knife. And if I'm going out and I want to take just one knife and expect it to do everything, it's a toss-up between this one and the SE5. It depends on how much other weight I'm carrying and just how hard I'm going to be on it. The SE5, of course, it's 1/4 inch thick. It's going to take more abuse than this one will. But I really, in my experience, can't say that I have put either one of these knives through enough abuse that extra width of the SE5 has really been needed when compared to this knife. So, that being said, I like both of them. They're right there together in the same class. This one just slices a little bit better, and the handle design's a whole lot more comfortable than the SE5. But that's the only advantages this one really has over the 5. But I hope you all have found this interesting. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see what I can do about getting up a few more videos. Y'all have a good night.